A young man chased after my girlfriend for 7 long years, and she always knew it, utterly loathing him for it. But when he was on the verge of being eliminated by the system for failing his mission, she lost her mind and rushed to save him, abandoning me at our engagement party. She insisted that a guy who had loved her for so long shouldn't meet such a fate. What she didn't realize was that the moment she left the party, my own mission failed, and the consequence was to forget her entirely. I stood on the stage of the engagement party, dressed in a sharp black suit, my smile frozen in place as I awaited my fiancée, Lily Chen. Our friends and family filled the audience, but the joyful chatter had faded into confusion and whispers. Lily hadn't yet appeared on stage. She was clearly backstage, already in her wedding dress, but she refused to come out. The host had called for her 3 times, only to be sent back each time. Mr. Zhang, Miss Chen has been on a video call with someone and looks very upset. I don't dare to urge her anymore, the host said with a nervous chuckle. I clenched my jaw, suppressing the anger that was bubbling up inside me. Lily was probably on a video call with him. His name was Max. Lily and I had grown up together, playing and studying side by side, attending the same schools from kindergarten through university. Everyone believed we were meant to be together, and all our friends and family thought we would walk down the aisle. Lily had even sworn she would marry no one but me. She had always been indifferent to other boys, including her junior, Max. Max entered our lives 7 years ago when Lily and I were sophomores and he was a freshman. He came from a poor village, tall and lanky, dressed simply but with a spark in his eyes that shone like stars in the night sky. He had those bright eyes fixed on Lily ever since she defended him when the store owner accused him of stealing. The boy fell in love with his savior. But Lily didn't like him. She didn't appreciate the breakfast he brought her every day, the water he offered after badminton matches, the umbrella he held over her in the rain, or his insistence that these were merely acts of gratitude with no ulterior motives. For 7 years, he had no other intentions. Even after graduation, he worked near our company just to see Lily every day. What a persistent guy. But Lily was mine. At least until she came on stage, she was mine. For the sake of my parents' reputation, I forced myself to suppress my anger and wait for Lily to appear. Finally, Lily stepped onto the stage. Her wedding dress was slightly wrinkled, her hair a bit messy, her face a mix of guilt and conflict, and her lips pressed tightly together. The guests finally let out a collective sigh of relief and began to clap and cheer, trying to lighten the mood. The host grabbed the microphone, ready to start. But Lily ignored everything, walked up to me, took my hand, and said hoarsely, "Darling, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. Can we postpone the engagement party for a month?" "Why?" I looked at her, wondering if my eyes weren't as bright as Max's. Why couldn't I tell if Lily loved me or not? Lily remained silent, her eyes darting as she muttered, "The date isn't good. Let's pick another date next month." Did something happen to Max? I hit the nail on the head. Lily stiffened, her expression shifting as she forced a strained smile. "Max is in the hospital, late-stage cancer. The doctor said he probably only has a month to live. I've already had someone verify it, it's true." No wonder she hesitated for so long, she had someone check on him at the hospital. Seems like what he said before was true. He's bound to the system. If he can't win you over, he'll be punished, I nodded calmly. This wasn't a secret. Max had told Lily long ago that he had to win her over or he would die. In this lifetime, he loved no one but her. Yes, he's facing severe punishment, dying in agony from cancer. Lily sighed, pressing her lips together again. She had always despised Max. After all, being pursued for 7 years had drained her patience. She even lost her temper once and accidentally hit Max. He curled up on the ground, crying and apologizing, but he insisted he just loved Lily and couldn't help himself. Crazy. This was Lily's usual view of Max. Now, it seemed her perspective had shifted. The engagement won't take long. For the sake of both families, let's complete the ceremony first and discuss everything else later, I suggested coldly. It was a reasonable suggestion. Out of a man's dignity, I didn't want to completely lose face at this highly anticipated wedding, so I maintained my composure and my last shred of dignity. Lily's expression changed again. She lowered her eyes to look at her watch and anxiously said, "I should go check on him first." "I'll go alone." "Darling, you stay here." She turned to leave. I felt the anger that had been brewing in my chest about to explode. My fists clenched tightly, my gaze fixed on Lily. Were all the years of our relationship and the expectations of our families going to be ruined today? What a laughingstock my family and I would become. Let's complete the engagement first. It won't take long, I spoke again, my voice hoarse and strained. Lily turned around, took a deep breath. "Darling, I don't want to lie to you. Max said that if I marry you, his mission will completely fail, and he will die immediately. So can we wait a little longer?" Lily spoke softly. "No matter how annoying he has loved me for 7 years. He shouldn't meet such an end." I laughed in anger. It seemed Max's mission hadn't failed yet, he was still trying to salvage it. And Lily, anxious and restless, her heart was no longer with me. She truly wanted to rush to Max's side immediately, unwilling to stay a second longer, even for our engagement party, even for the sake of both our family's dignity. I shook my head in self-mockery. Unexpectedly, I was the one who ultimately failed the mission. Max had his system, and didn't I, Ethan, have one too? Seeing that I was silent, Lily kissed me apologetically. Darling, I love you, but Max has suffered so much. I can't bear to see him die. Forgive me. I'll be back. She turned and left. Everyone was stunned. Relatives in the audience called out to Lily, but she ignored them, heading straight for the door. I lifted my head, watching Lily's figure move further and further away. The moment she stepped out the door, I felt the world spin, a sharp pain in my head, and I collapsed to the ground. Host's mission failed. All memories of Lily will be erased. I woke up in the hospital, met by the concerned eyes of my parents. There were also some relatives and our kind neighbors, Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang, in the room. Seeing me awake, my parents cried with joy, finally relieved. Uncle Chen said apologetically, "Ethan, you finally woke up." My daughter went crazy. She made me so angry. I swear I'll break her legs. Yes, Ethan, don't take it to heart. We'll make sure to discipline Lily properly. She's really out of line, and Wang's eyes were red as she repeatedly assured me they would educate Lily well. I was a bit dazed, my mind blank. Lily, who is she? Isn't Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang's daughter named Mia? How could there be a Lily? Seeing me in a daze, my parents got nervous again, touching my forehead and my hand. My mother cried, aggrieved and angry, "Look at what Lily has done to my son. They've been in love for so many years, and she ran away at the engagement party. How can my son face the world?" "Ah, don't blame us in-laws. I've already sent Mia to find her. We'll get to the bottom of this and give you an explanation." Uncle Chen apologized deeply. I frowned, hesitating. Wait, who is Lily? Ha! The relatives in the room were all dumbfounded. My mother was shocked, touching my head again, calling for the doctor. The doctor came, and I was given another thorough examination with no abnormalities found. Physically, I was very healthy and could be discharged at any time. I just didn't remember how I ended up in the hospital, and it seemed I had forgotten quite a bit. Finally, the doctor suggested that I stay for observation for 3 more days and be discharged if there were no further issues. I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, and my parents, along with Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang, refused to leave. They ate and slept at the hospital, taking turns to look after me. I felt embarrassed. It was fine with my parents, but Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang were too good to me, and I wasn't used to it. I told them to go home, that I was fine. Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang exchanged glances, their expressions a bit strange. "Ethan, have you really forgotten Mia? You're our son-in-law, so it's only right we take care of you," and Wang didn't like my detachment. I laughed helplessly. Who exactly is Lily? I can't be her husband, can I? Yes, you two were about to get engaged, but something went wrong. Uncle Chen took the opportunity to tell me about Lily and me. He finished talking about the engagement party and even mentioned our childhood, how we walked dogs, teased cats, climbed mountains and trees together. When you were 7, both families went to the beach together, and Mia was swept away by the sea. Without thinking, you jumped in to save her. If not for the lifeguard, both of you would have. Uncle Chen spoke while observing my face, hoping I would remember. I smiled dryly. I didn't remember any of it, not a single bit. Uncle Chen got anxious, and Aunt Wang sighed. Maybe he's too angry and temporarily forgot. Ethan, take care of yourself and don't be too upset. I'm not upset. I don't even know Lily, so why would I be angry? On the second day in the hospital, it was sunny, and I was in a good mood, scrolling on my phone and eating pastries. Uncle Chen was outside making a phone call, his voice loud. "You silly girl, Ethan is in the hospital, and you don't come to see him. I'll beat you to death. You can't come. Even if you're dying, you better crawl over here." Hello. Apparently, the other party hung up. Uncle Chen dialed again, but the other party had turned off their phone. Beside my bed, my mom shook her head. "Since yesterday, your Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang have made dozens of calls, and Lily only answered one today." My mom was very angry, completely disappointed in Lily. I shrugged indifferently and continued scrolling on my phone and eating pastries. In the afternoon, Mia came. She is Uncle Chen's daughter and my childhood friend. We are very close. As soon as she arrived, she checked on me and relaxed upon seeing my healthy complexion and natural expression. "Brother-in-law, don't worry. I've already scolded my sister for you. She's such an idiot. She pissed me off," Mia swore. She was always straightforward, but she wouldn't be so coarse in front of the elders. Clearly, she was very angry. Uncle Chen hurriedly asked what was going on. Mia took a sip of water before speaking. "It's Max causing trouble again. Max has always liked my sister, right? He once stood outside our house for a whole day and night in the rain without leaving. He has cancer now and doesn't have long to live. He wants my sister to accompany him through his last days, and my sister agreed. She's already moved him to the seaside villa to let him face the sea and enjoy the spring flowers every day. Mia got angrier as she spoke and slapped the table. I went to the seaside villa and saw my sister feeding Max. Max looked so happy it made me furious. Mia clearly understood everything. She had confronted Lily face to face. My parents were livid, almost cursing. Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang were also furious, and Aunt Wang almost fainted. Uncle Chen gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Lily, you're such a disgrace." After scolding, he quickly apologized to my parents and tried to reassure me. "Ethan, I'll personally go catch Lily and make her kneel and apologize to you." Aunt Wang agreed, urging Uncle Chen to go catch her quickly. I blinked, continuing to eat my pastry, looking bewildered. Mia was a bit confused and cautiously asked me, "Brother-in-law, are you okay?" I felt fine. "What's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with my phone or the pastries?" "No, nothing's wrong. Everything's great. It's pretty interesting, actually. I really found Lily's story quite amusing, a real soap opera." Everyone exchanged glances. My parents were both angry and worried, fearing something was wrong with my brain, and once again asked the hospital to examine me. The results were still normal, but everyone thought I was acting strange. Uncle Chen, without a word, angrily went to fetch Lily. On the third day, he brought her back. My parents, Aunt Wang, and Mia were all present. The moment Lily entered the room, she looked at me with guilt and concern. "Darling, are you okay? I actually wanted to see you earlier, but Max just got out of the hospital and is in poor condition. I had to settle him first." Lily came over and apologized. I stared at her. Honestly, this woman was really beautiful. About 5'5" tall, with a slim and slender figure, high nose bridge, and big eyes, it was hard for her to look ugly. "Uncle Chen, Aunt Wang, when did you get another daughter?" "I have to say she's pretty," I complimented. Lily froze for a moment, frowning, and reached out to take my hand. "Darling, I'm Mia. We grew up together." "Don't say things like that out of anger." Before she could finish, I instinctively pulled my hand back, frowning in displeasure. "Who are you, and how can you just touch my hand? I'm a decent person." Lily froze again, then lowered her head with a bitter smile. "Dad said you lost your memory. I know you're pretending you hate me now." "I'm sorry, darling, it's my fault. Please listen to me." She reached for my hand again. I frowned even more, shaking her hand off. "What are you doing? Don't touch me." Lily didn't expect my reaction to be so intense, shaking her hand off. She felt bitter and humiliated, lowering her head and speaking hoarsely. "I won't touch you anymore. I know I've deeply hurt you, but Max is dying. You know he's going to die. He's had a hard life with a tough family and tough living conditions. He's never had a good day." Lily lifted her head. "He wasted 7 years of his youth on me, and now he's dying. I can't just stand by and watch him suffer." "Isn't a person's life more important than our engagement party?" Lily questioned me. My parents were about to explode with anger. Uncle Chen slapped Lily on the head. "Shut up. Is this about the engagement party? Max or no Max, who's more important, him or Ethan?" "Dad, you can't compare like that. Max has cancer. He sacrificed so much for me," Lily retorted. I felt annoyed. I didn't care about the engagement party or who was more important. I just didn't like this stranger touching my hand twice. "Stop arguing. I don't want to see you. Please leave," I sighed, asking her to go. My parents also wanted Lily to leave immediately. Lily pursed her lips and slowly stood up. "Darling, I still hope you can be reasonable. Max has suffered so much. Our happiness is equal to his suffering. Pretend to have amnesia, hate me if you want, I accept that. But please be generous, show Max some understanding and forgiveness." I felt speechless. What was she talking about? What was she yelling about? "Sorry, I really don't know you. As for Max, I think he was a junior of mine in college. He's had a tough life. You should take care of him, love him well. I wish you happiness." I sincerely wished them a long and happy life together. Lily sighed again. "I'll come back when you stop being angry." She turned and left, ignoring Mia's scolding and Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang's attempts to stop her. That night, a sudden storm brought heavy rain and thunder. I woke up in the middle of the night, startled. It's embarrassing to admit, but I'm terrified of thunderstorms. When I was 7, I got lost once during a thunderstorm, crying my eyes out, and since then, I've had a psychological shadow. Thunderstorms make me feel like I've stepped on a snake. My parents and Uncle Chen and Aunt Wang weren't around. They were probably resting in the caregiver's room. I didn't wake them up. Instead, I stayed under the covers, scrolling on my phone since the thunder was keeping me awake anyway. But my mom came in. Seeing me awake, she teased, "With all this thunder, I knew you wouldn't be able to sleep." I smiled. My mom touched my forehead and sighed. "I remember when it used to thunder, Lily would come over with an umbrella in the middle of the night to keep you company because she knew you couldn't sleep." "Really?" Yes, she was so worried about you. I remember after we found you, there was another thunderstorm, and you were crying again. Lily ran barefoot to our door, calling for you, telling you not to be afraid. She got soaked and had a high fever for days. She grew faster than you then, was taller than you, really like a big sister, haha. Really? I didn't feel anything, just smiled and said she was silly for doing that. My mom hesitantly asked, do you really not remember Lily? She suspected I was pretending too since all my tests came back normal. Mom, I don't know Lily, and I don't like Lily. My first impression of her is terrible. Please don't mention her again. I frowned. My mom thought for a moment and nodded. After being discharged, we took Uncle Chen's car to his villa. The maid had already prepared lunch, and many of the Chen family's relatives were there, celebrating my discharge. Ethan, today is your discharge day. We are here to celebrate and apologize. We hope you won't blame us for not teaching our daughter well, Uncle Chen said, full of guilt. I quickly waved my hand. Uncle Chen had been taking care of me in the hospital for days, and he had worked hard. We had a joyous meal, and the Chen family's relatives all said nice things, hoping I would forgive Lily. They were afraid I would call off the engagement as our family's businesses were closely linked. Our villas were next to each other, and a fallout would be ugly. But I really didn't know any Lily. Uncles and aunties, you and my parents have been friends for years. No matter what happens between Lily and me, it won't affect our relationships. Please rest assured. I gave them some peace of mind. Everyone relaxed a bit. Aunt Wang spoke at the right moment. Ethan, when Mia comes back, we'll make sure to give you a grand engagement ceremony. We won't let you suffer any grievance. As soon as she finished speaking, the butler came to report that Miss Chen had returned. Everyone looked towards the door. Uncle Chen looked pleased and got up. I scolded that girl. It seems she's realized her mistake and has come back to apologize, but his expression quickly changed because it wasn't just Lily who had returned, but Max too. Max, tall and thin, was wearing a white coat and a thick hat, coughing and holding Lily's hand nervously at the door. Everyone was stunned. Uncle Chen angrily shouted, Lily, are you crazy? Have you no shame? Let go of his hand. Max was startled, his already weak body shrinking further. Lily explained, Dad, don't scare Max. He's become timid after getting cancer. He was frightened by the thunder last night, and the wind and waves at the seaside were too much, so I brought him home. You all are usually not at home, so I didn't know you were having a meal here today. Shut up. You're completely insane. Get out and take Max with you. Uncle Chen was furious. Max shrank back further, saying nothing with his head down. I was really curious about what the main character of this dramatic story looked like. I hadn't seen my junior Max for many years, so I was genuinely curious. So, I walked over and motioned for Uncle Chen to calm down. Lily met my gaze, slightly avoiding it, looking both embarrassed and guilty. I didn't care about her, I observed Max. He gave a dry smile and looked up, revealing a pale face and still bright eyes. His eyes were exceptionally bright, brighter than the stars in the sky. Even though his face was bloodless, paired with those peach blossom eyes, he still looked like a delicate handsome guy. When he was in college, he was very simple, his clothes old and shabby, exuding a lack of confidence. Now, he was still not confident, just more miserable, considering he had cancer. Max, it's been many years, I smiled. Max stood dumbfounded, staring at me in confusion. Lily spoke up, Darling, it's all my fault. Don't blame Max. I'll take him away immediately. She pulled Max, wanting to leave. He's in such a state, a gust of wind could blow him away. Why are you taking him around? Let him stay here. The environment is good, the air is fresh, and we can call a private doctor anytime. It's suitable for recuperation. I offered my opinion. Max froze again. Lily didn't freeze but seemed a bit angry. It seemed my excessive magnanimity and lack of jealousy were unacceptable to her. She probably thought I was being sarcastic. Darling, what do you want? I said we could get engaged in a month, and you have to make a fuss. Why are you making fun of Max? He doesn't have many days left. Can you let him be a little happy? Lily got angrier as she spoke. I felt baffled. Why are you angry? I'm just concerned about my junior's health. A terminal cancer patient can't handle being moved around. Firstly, I'm not being sarcastic. Secondly, I won't get engaged to you in a month because I don't like you. Finally, I really don't know you, so please watch your tone, I sternly warned Lily. No one behind me spoke. Max didn't speak either. Lily, frustrated, pulled Max into the villa. Fine, Ethan, you're really something. You keep pretending. I'll take your advice. Max should stay here to recuperate. This place is perfect for that. She was furious, her personality quite impulsive. Uncle Chen shouted angrily, Lily, stop. Who allowed you to bring an outsider home? Ethan did. Lily was very angry, so Max moved in. All the relatives were furious, feeling indignant for me. I didn't care. I wanted to go home. Luckily, we lived in the same neighborhood, with my villa right next door. Back home, my parents cursed Lily and felt sorry for my suffering. A grown man like me being jilted by my fiancée, who then brought another man home. It was too much. But I didn't feel it was a big deal. Isn't this great? Who was Lily anyway? Why should I feel wronged? At night, it started thundering again. Summer storms come suddenly, and the thunder is especially loud. I couldn't sleep again. I remembered my mom saying that Lily would come over during thunderstorms to keep me company. But now, she wouldn't come as her darling Max was scared of thunderstorms too after getting cancer. While I was thinking this, the doorbell rang, barely audible in the storm, but my phone notified me. Someone was visiting in this thunderstorm. My mom went to answer the door and let the person in. I listened and heard Lily's anxious and high-pitched voice. Ethan is afraid of thunder. All these years, whenever it thundered, he needed me to sleep. He can't sleep without me. Really? Yes, she was so worried about you. I remember after we found you, there was another thunderstorm, and you were crying again. Lily ran barefoot to our door, calling for you, telling you not to be afraid. I was startled, realizing it was Lily. She stood there like a ghost, probably waiting for me to return. I quickly drew the curtains, not wanting to have nightmares. After a night of heavy rain, the air was filled with the fresh scent of the earth. Mia came running to find me. I was having breakfast, and she unceremoniously grabbed my milk to drink. Brother-in-law, I'm so fed up. Now I have to live with Max. My parents have gone back to the company, and I feel completely uncomfortable. At her house, it was just her, Lily, and Max. My parents are furious and have cut off my sister's card, but my sister has saved a lot of money herself and has a terrible temper. She even said that if we drive Max away, she'll kill herself. Mia kept complaining. I found it amusing, such a devoted fool. Brother-in-law, I can't take it anymore. I don't want to stay at home. Let's go out and have some fun. How about we attend our alma mater's anniversary celebration tomorrow? Mia suddenly suggested. I was taken aback. Our alma mater's anniversary celebration. Oh right, my university was about to hold its anniversary celebration. We alumni were invited to go back and celebrate. Mia was actually my junior, a few years younger. Why do you suddenly want to go to the anniversary celebration? I asked Mia. Mia shrugged. This morning, the school called my sister, inviting her to the celebration. She even gets to give a speech. No wonder she was one of the Kinghua twin stars back then. Why didn't they invite me? I'm quite accomplished too, earning 3,000 yuan a month. Mia was indignant. She was actually mocking herself. Her 3,000 yuan salary was just nominal, her actual allowance was 100,000. I couldn't help but laugh, but my memory was a bit fuzzy. Were there twin stars at Kinghua back then? Wasn't there just one star? That star seemed to be named May. May was the brightest star in Kinghua's history. During my college years, May's miracles were everywhere. For example, she took 9 elective courses and ranked first in 3 of them. She won first prize in the National College Physics competition. She won the first special prize for Kinghua in the International College Student Mathematical Modeling competition. She was incredible, leaving a deep impression on me. Later, I heard she went abroad, recruited by several top universities. She was probably settled abroad by now. Brother-in-law, what are you thinking about? Are we going to the anniversary celebration or not? Mia was excited. I wasn't too keen on going, especially since Lily was invited, and I didn't want to see her. But after thinking about it, why should I avoid her? She's not significant to me, just a passerby. Let's go. We went enthusiastically. On the day of the celebration, we had already roamed around the campus, eating and drinking. After we were full, we jogged to the Kinghua Grand Auditorium. The Grand Auditorium was where the celebration was held, spacious and bright, with seats and a stage. I heard there would be a ball after the speeches, a real party. In front of the auditorium, we saw 2 posters. One was of Lily, and the other was of May. There wasn't much to say about Lily. She was indeed impressive, with an amazing resume and a strong background, donating to her alma mater every year. It was fitting to invite her to speak. As for May, she was more mysterious, having disappeared for years. From the poster, I learned she was a professor at Stanford University, the youngest female professor in Stanford's history. She's really something. Stanford is a top school. May truly deserves to be one of the twin stars. Since she graduated, no one from our school has achieved such an honor. Mia was in awe, taking pictures with her phone. And she's so beautiful. Look at that dress and those refined lips. I was a bit disgusted. Mia was fangirling too much, even over a woman. I didn't look too much and pulled her into the auditorium. There were alumni everywhere, including some familiar faces. After a few pleasantries, the celebration began. The principal and leaders gave speeches, followed by Lily. She looked stunning today, like a celestial fairy, causing an uproar as soon as she took the stage, showing her immense popularity. My sister is really amazing, just a bit confused. Mia clicked her tongue. I didn't respond. After Lily's speech, May took the stage. Her popularity was much lower than Lily's, not because she was inferior, but because she was always aloof, solitary in school. Though admired, she had no social circle. So, everyone found her unattainable. I studied her. Her beauty was different from Lily's. Lily was like a descending fairy, while May was like a mystical deer hidden in the mist. Seeing a deer in the forest, that was her. After May's speech, the celebration reached its climax. The grand auditorium turned into a party venue, filled with lively or mature alumni chatting and toasting. I enjoyed this moment, it felt like youth. But suddenly, Lily was bumped into and almost fell. I frowned and saw Lily and her dance partner nearby. Lily's face was livid, and she looked murderous. Clearly, she had bumped into May. May steadied herself and saw Lily. She didn't say anything, just signaled for us to leave. Stop! Lily couldn't help but shout. She ignored her dance partner and came over to grab my other hand. May looked displeased. Lily, what are you trying to do? May, don't you know Ethan is my fiancé? What do you mean by this? Lily was even more displeased. People around us turned to look, bewildered. I was frustrated. Lily, are you crazy? I shook off Lily's hand, wanting to leave quickly. Lily froze, her expression shifting. Ethan, you're still pretending to have amnesia. I'm not pretending. I don't know you. Besides, I've always remembered May and admired her. She confessed her love to me, and I accepted. I dropped the bomb. Everyone was shocked. Lily, enraged, laughed sarcastically. Perfect. I was just planning to marry Max. Let's go our separate ways. After saying that, she wiped her tears and left without looking back. I was left standing there, feeling a mix of emotions. Soon after, I heard a fierce argument from her house, with Uncle Chen's yelling and Aunt Wang's crying. Finally, with the roar of a car engine, Lily drove away with Max in a sports car. Later, I saw Lily's post on social media. The caption read, "Having you in this life is my greatest joy." There were two photos, one of her with Max and another of their marriage certificate. Brother-in-law, my sister has gone mad. She's gone mad. Mia rushed over, looking pale. She got married to Max, right? I said calmly. Yes. She had a huge fight with us, grabbed the household registration book, and ran off to get married to Max. It's all over. Mia was on the verge of tears. I also foresaw a lot of trouble ahead, as the relatives from both families would surely explode. I would have a massive headache dealing with it. Judy, I'm going on a trip. Tell everyone not to look for me. I'm fine, and I have May. I decided to leave early, or I'd be overwhelmed. That day, before the relatives could come looking for me, I packed a few things and hit the road. On the way, I informed May and asked her to join me on the trip. As night fell, we sat on the high-speed train, exchanging smiles. Ethan, where are we going on this trip? To fun places. We'll travel for a month and then see. A month should be enough to avoid the chaos, right? May agreed to everything, and we traveled wherever we wanted, eating, drinking, and sleeping as we pleased. Of course, we also took care of our needs. For example, if her feet were cold, I'd warm them up in my arms. As they warmed up, so did we. What could we do? Those who understand, understand. After the trip, we returned to Beijing. May's parents were eager to come back to the country, and she excitedly went to welcome them. She also arranged for us to have dinner together so she could formally introduce me to her parents. I was naturally happy to oblige. Then I called Mia to ask what had happened in the past month. Brother-in-law, you're finally back. Sigh, my sister is a mess. She's been drinking and gambling every day. Mia sighed heavily. That can't be true, can it? It's only been a month, and she's like this? Yes. She had a huge fight with us, grabbed the household registration book, and ran off to get married to Max. It was all for show, and everyone was shocked. Mia herself was stunned. We all thought he was after money, marrying my sister to live off her, but he divorced her the next day without asking for any compensation. My sister's heart was still set on you. She regretted getting married right away and agreed to the divorce immediately. After the divorce, Max told her something, and she became completely lost and broken. Mia was exasperated. There was a commotion on her end, and then the phone was taken away. I heard Lily's sobbing voice. Ethan, is that you? I know I was wrong, please come back. How could you forget me? Are you trying to win me back? Because I abandoned you, you forgot me. I didn't understand what she was talking about. Max told me. He figured it out. You failed to win me over, so you lost your memory. I deserve to die. Please come back, please. Lily was crying her heart out, but I remained indifferent. Because, honestly, I didn't know her. I've already married May. Goodbye. I turned off my phone, never to see her again. I was in a good mood and didn't feel like going home, so I decided to take a walk around the city. Passing by Wanda Plaza, I saw a familiar figure. He was dressed plainly, tall and thin, enthusiastically handing out flyers. I stood there watching him, looking at his smiling face, his thin body under the sunlight, and his clothes fluttering in the wind. I walked over. He saw me and froze, then invited me. Want to have a drink? There's a cafe over there, and I have a bottle of wine in my bag. Where did you get the wine? From Lily's house. I couldn't let those 7 years of being a simp go to waste, so I took the most expensive bottle of wine from her house. Good move. Let's go have a drink. Half a year later, I married May, and my family had long since moved out of that neighborhood. Lily had completely fallen apart in these 6 months, drinking heavily, gambling, and neglecting her health. A once beautiful woman had turned into an addict. Her parents were so angry that they fell ill. In the end, they decided to give up on her, letting her hit rock bottom. I saw Lily again on Christmas Eve on the street. She revved her sports car loudly with a pretentious male model in the passenger seat, screaming. I watched from a distance as Lily, yawning, got out of the car with the male model and took a drag on her cigarette. She had lost all the pride and elegance of the Kinghua twin star, now she was just a mess. Damn it, so many people. Where's the bar we went to last time? Lily cursed as she looked around for the bar. The male model giggled, I forgot too. Where was it? Lily suddenly stopped, turned to the male model, and yelled, forget your ass. You're not allowed to forget, not allowed. The male model was terrified, apologizing repeatedly. Remember it now. Lily slapped the male model. He quickly pointed in a direction. I remember, it's over there. Satisfied, Lily walked towards the bar, smoking her cigarette. But after a few steps, she suddenly broke down in tears, collapsing to the ground and crying loudly. The male model remembered, but the person she loved couldn't remember her. A long time later, I met Max again. He wasn't handing out flyers anymore, he had passed the civil service exam in his hometown. After all, he was from a key school. After 7 years of hard times, handing out flyers was just a temporary way to make money. With his abilities, he was bound to succeed eventually. After passing the civil service exam, he was preparing to leave Beijing. Before leaving, he came to see me, holding a bottle of wine. I smiled. Want a drink? Mr. Ethan, let me buy you a drink. No need to be formal, it's not our first time drinking together. We shared a drink, and Max began to talk about his life after the chaos with Lily. He put in a tremendous effort, ultimately succeeding in the civil service exam in his hometown. At last, he could relax and enjoy a glass of wine with his legs crossed. This was a wine that had been aged for 7 years. Let's lift our glasses and make a toast.